maybe one or two successful marketing campaigns you did to sell one of your projects. What was something you did that really tied in, that was a successful marketing campaign to something you put out? We can start, we'll start.
All right. Well, my debut album, Salvation, came out in '09 on Duck Down Records. I came up with this idea. The album itself, if you know the album, it's a very personal album. It's an album where the whole thing is just me talking about my life, like from A to Z. So the whole theme with it and promoting it was everything you heard, you know, every word, everything I uttered really happened to me. And a lot of emotions, a lot of storytelling and things of that nature. So I came up with this idea to do a 6-part mini-series of episodes that I shot on my own. I found a director, put everything together myself, found the people that I wanted to be in them. And each episode in the series reflected a certain emotion that was represented on the album. Each emotion was represented in a certain song on the album. So the series was called Saving Our Grace, and it tied in with the theme of salvation being the title of the album and everything. And what we did with the series was we would ask the person, okay, what's the average day like for you? So they would say, yo, I try to look for a job, it's hard because I just got out of jail, da-da-da. That was just one of the scenarios. A lot of different scenarios. It was a kid going to college, kid with a 9-to-5 that he hated, kid who just got home from jail and trying to get a job, a kid who sells drugs on his corner, a single mother, and a 13-year-old who watches an 8-year-old brother. And all of these was different emotions in one way or another that was represented on the album. When I put them out every week, I was putting out one per week leading up to the release date of the album. So every Tuesday for 6 weeks, you saw a new episode, part 1, 2, 3, whatever. And the response was just bananas. Like, people, you know, it tugged at them so much. The comments, people were like, I hope these don't stop when the album comes out. You know, they was leaving like advice for the people in the series, but little did they know that these were just people that I scripted everything out. Like, I wrote the scripts and told them what to say, but they really believed it. So if you read the comments, they're like, yo, you know, it'll be all right, just keep going. You know, moral of the story is it really tugged on people. And you know how many people was like, yo, the minute this album drops, I'm getting it. Because if this is any inclination of what this album's gonna sound like, I'm sold, you know? So, and I came up with the whole thing A to Z on my own. I presented it to Duck Down, pretty much MOV files, like, yo, here go all 6 files every week. We're gonna do them like this. This is week 1, week 2. I did everything for them. All they had to do was press the button. So that was just, you know, one small example of how I was able to promote one of my projects. I mean, I'm extremely hands-on, sometimes to a fault. I'm extremely hands-on with my music, my packaging, my look, everything. So that was just one example of that, and I think it worked. I mean, that week, we debuted number 14 on Billboard Top 200 as an indie, so, you know, I think it worked.
For sure.
I've never been on that list, so this is a much smaller scope, my friends. One super lo-fi, and then one a little bit more high-tech, that in our, you know, for the magnitude at which we're working, seems to make a splash. One, the low-tech one first, my manager, we were talking about pre-sales, which for us are a really big part of our business. For 2 reasons: they generate excitement, engage the, you know, the fans who are already on board, and then, to be frank, the other reason is cash flow. You know, we don't have 5 figures sitting around all the time, so it helps us to be able to kind of get over that horrible decline when you just spent a lot of money on recording and manufacturing an album, get a little bit of influx of cash. Talking to my manager on the phone, and he's got a goal for how many records he wants me to sell during my pre-sale, and I believe that this goal is absolutely outrageously high and unattainable, and that it's all good to like shoot high, but I don't want to have this conversation because I can't do that. And so out of frustration, I made in Children's watercolor marker a thermometer. Like, I taped pieces of printer paper together, and I drew a thermometer, and then like I colored in how many we had done already, and I said, this is how many pre-sales I have, and then at the top I wrote manager's unattainable goal, and then I took a picture on my iPhone, and just goofing off, you know, I tweeted it, and people were like, oh shit, you know, let's get Dessa's manager off her back, or whatever, and I was like, what is going on? That's so lame, but it worked, and then I think it worked, right, because instead of being like, hey, I'm trying to make a big splash on this chart, you're saying, for what it's worth, this is the real experience that I'm having right now as an artist, right? It provides some real access to the workings of your life and what it feels like to be an indie artist who's trying to make it. The second one was, this is chart-based. It was important to me to try to get the most recent Doomtree record on the top 10 iTunes sellers. And to do that, I knew that we had to really concentrate our sales in time. I knew that we'd get a good amount on iTunes, but I needed them to all happen at once so that all the magnifying glasses would be turned at the same point, you know, high enough to ignite a fire. It's different to have small successes than to have them all at the same time. It's gestalt, you know, 1 + 1 = 3. So on our like mailing list, I asked for everybody to do a digital flash mob to buy the record, and then I counted down on Twitter. And those are probably people who would have bought the record anyway. And then there was a couple people, I think, who were just excited by the prospect of being able to watch their purchase potentially affect the iTunes chart. So if you had 5 friends who are like, ready to do, let's do it. Oh shit, you know, they just got to 13, we're 3 away. And then it feels like a community effort. And I told them frankly, like, you know, it's not like we're selling any, maybe a lot more records because we're doing this, but this helps Doomtree. Next time we're in a conversation, to be able to leverage that, right? Yeah, man, we're in the top 10 sons, and I can say that now, thanks to the fact that people were willing to, you know, stay a little late on their lunch break. So for us, that helped too.
We've done a lot of different marketing things over the years, just with different records. With the atmosphere, like the When Life Gives You Lemons record, we did a thing where we engaged fans throughout the process leading from the pre-order in, and it was basically like they could email in questions, and then Sean and Ant would answer them every week in like this lo-fi basement, in basically Sean's basement, and answer all these kids' questions each week, and then you could win things, and it all led up to the campaign. And I think that it really did a lot to bring the direct fans in connection with the artists, like, and answer their questions, and people would tune in each week, and more people would tune in each week. And then it just kept building, not only for the record, but for the tour and the whole overall campaign. Another thing, we do a lot of things with packaging, and like we do these hands-on videos, which basically display the whole packaging for the fans, for the retailers, so everybody could see it. And we did this wallet packaging for Freeway for the stimulus package with Jake One. And basically it was the whole package of the CD was like a wallet with the CD in it, and just showing it online, what it looked like before you could buy it, is like a good way to engage people. Like, hey, here's a way, this is a reason to buy the physical, because this is like a basic wallet CD. It's something that's really not been done before. So it's like really trying to just engage people too, just from a marketing perspective in different ways ahead of time, like whether it's a packaging thing, a CD thing, or a touring thing. So.
Sure.
We're always attempting to integrate multi-level marketing options. One thing that seems to be really well received with pre-sales is to give options. So, for instance, with a pre-sale, you get a selection of one design where you can choose the colors on it. That seemed to be really well received, and it was a situation where we were able to kind of cross-pollinate the art community, the web community, and bring kind of a whole new genre to the artist in hand. Offering like limited edition variants where you can only get them online for pre-sales was a huge push for us as well. Yeah, I'm kind of behind the scenes guys. I'm very just humbled to be here and just kind of listen to these guys. So yeah, it's really exciting for me to hear.
I don't know the trick. I don't have a story of a cool trick I can tell. No, really, but and since you know, not to be indirect about the way that I answer your question, Brother Kevin, but I think like we're here talking about how to make money as an artist, and nobody on this panel has a whole lot of money, and I don't think that there's any particular. We can talk about strategies and we can talk about all that stuff, and that's great. And having people that do that is a wonderful thing. But I think what it really comes down to, you know, especially I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of my friends, a lot of kids that I wish would have a career, you know, and they would be able to do their music for their job. And I think one of the main things that really gets lost on a lot of us, we get so caught up in how am I going to do this and am I making the right moves and all that stuff, is that it really so much comes back to the actual art. The fact that, you know, Skyzoo's record is exactly what he said it is, and people, it meant something to people, and then Dessa's music does that a lot, and the music that we all represent and stuff. I think just really the solid music, but then also the thing about Rhymesayers that I see most of all, and Rhymesayers is amazing at packaging. I personally think that they're the best at packaging. And that does a lot, and a lot of those things are extremely important. But I think the real reason why they're successful as a label is because everybody involved is really, really invested personally. It's almost like a personal mission for everybody that's involved in it. The work is very, very solid. You know, people work, 14-hour days, and not just when there's a campaign, but I mean, everybody involved is just really being that dedicated at all times, and the artists are the same way. I see that a lot with Doomtree as well. I see that a lot with Duck Down as well. So I mean, I personally am interested in hearing all of this stuff, and I think we should be, but nothing is going to matter. The wheels turn because people really care. Listeners who don't know you, who don't give a fuck who you are, really care about the shit you're making. It's not about whether or not it's good. It's not about whether it's better than somebody else's. It's about, do people care? And you can't worry about choosing the people who care or why, you can't plan that. I really don't think you can. I really think that you can't strategize how to make people really genuinely want music to be part of who they are. I think that the art has to be based on some kind of truth, even if that truth is like, man, it's, everything from social justice truth to like, fly girls and cocaine is fun. That's truth. There's truth to that. Partying is fun. That's a truth. Like there's something real inside an artist that makes them make the music they're making, and then when a campaign or something comes together right, when I've seen it, it's happened for me sometimes and then not in others, but it's a lot of it has been that what we're saying at the time we're saying it matters to people, and the way that our team makes sure that story is told right. Then we can start working. But until we artists give these men and women something to work with, then they can't do anything. Like there's no campaign for how to sell something that nobody wants, or that's already been heard, or that's stale, or that's whatever. It just can't happen. So that's the only thing, that's my main thing that I felt like I could contribute here as an artist who doesn't know shit about the industry and is not good at any of that. And these men from Rhymesayers that are in here, I give them music to work with, and I'm not good at giving them anything else. But I give them the music, you know what I mean? And if people let me talk, they care that I mean what I say. So, you know what I mean? I'm not like Brother Skyzoo, and I see the things that you do. And there are times, like really, I watch them, I'm like, man, I wish my brain worked like that. I wish my brain worked like Slug and like Jay-Z and some of these people. It just doesn't. But, so the only thing that I can really say here is that if the music doesn't touch people, just fucking worry about the rest later. Like that's so
Yeah, that's definitely job one.
Yeah.
For sure.